Yo book nerds! This video has been a long time coming. I am doing a book review on Life is Messy by Matthew Kelly. I read this book in 2021, but I just hadn't had time to do a review for it yet. I really wanted to talk about this book because I just adored it. I thought it was awesome. I ended up recommending it to so many people after I read it. Matthew Kelly is a Catholic author, but this book is not strictly Catholic. There are some Christian undertones to it, but they are not specifically Catholic, so you don't have to be Catholic. You can be Christian and still get just as much out of this. Even if you're not Christian at all, I feel like this book has some very inspiring parts that can relate to anyone across the board. So I feel like if you're not Christian, you could read it and just ignore the parts that talk about God because it's not heavy on the God stuff. So this book is an inspirational type book. It is about how messy life is, but it is about how that messy life can also be beautiful, and we don't have to be upset about our messy lives and that everybody has messy lives, and so it's not something to be ashamed about. And my life has been crazy this past couple years, and so this book I feel like just came to me at the right time. It is such an easy read. I flew through it so fast I just couldn't put it down. And the stuff that Matthew Kelly talks about is not groundbreaking. It's not new information, to be honest, but it is written in such a way that it connects. It's very personal and it is very relatable. The way Matthew Kelly writes is just super easy. The flow is easy, and when you're in a messy spot in your life, you don't really want to be reading something that's super complicated that makes you think a lot, because you're exhausted with whatever you're going through and you don't need to add more complication to your life. This just, it's easy. He presents it in such an easy way, and it makes sense. What he says just really makes sense, and it resonated with me. In this book, Matthew Kelly talks about being broken and how everyone's broken and everyone's life is a mess. And that's okay, and that life is messy, and we have this tendency to fix things. We want everything perfect and easy, and when we can't fix the problem of our life, we freak out pretty much. And you know what? Life is not a problem for us to solve. Life is something that we live. And there's no straight path, because life isn't a journey, it's a dance. We don't go in one direction. We dance around, and we go backwards and forwards and sideways and everywhere. And it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful, the stuff that he talks about, and it just made me feel like I'm not alone and I can get through these tough things, and it's okay to be a mess. It's okay to not have answers sometimes. About halfway through this book, Matthew Kelly quotes a poem by Portia Nelson, and that poem just, seriously, it was my life, and I just connected to it so much. I had to read it like 4 times. And I still go back and reread it because it just was so powerful and so simple. And it wasn't even Matthew Kelly that wrote the poem, but he knew how powerful that poem was, and he included it in here. And Portia Nelson's poem's just brilliant. It's called Autobiography in 5 Short Chapters, and it's 5 short, very short stanzas. I won't read it to you, but if you don't want to read Life is Messy, at least go look up her poem and read it to yourself when you're alone, and just let it fill you up, because it is so true. It is just so true whenever you're going through something hard and difficult in life. And it's so relatable. And it's just nice to know that you're not alone, that other people have walked through difficult roads just like you're walking through. And we all make mistakes, and we all get stuck in the same patterns, and it's okay. It's not okay to continue those patterns once we realize that they're there, if they're bad for us. but it's okay to have a problem. But it's okay to be human. Essentially, that is what this book is about. It is about being human, and humans aren't perfect, and it's okay to not be perfect and to have problems. I highly recommend getting this book and reading it, especially if you're going through something difficult, especially now with the pandemic and everything. Everyone's lives have been turned upside down. It's rough out there. It's messy. It is very messy. And Matthew Kelly's book just really hit me. Yeah, like I said before, it's not anything groundbreaking. Matthew Kelly writes super simple. It's very simple ideas, but that's what makes it so relatable. Again, you don't want heavy stuff right now. You don't need it. Your life's messy enough. You don't want to have to riddle out an answer in a book. This is just beautifully written, simply written. I feel like most people would get something out of it like I got out of it. I connected to it so much. I give it 5 stars. And it is one of my favorite books that I read in 2021. And I just honestly can't recommend it enough. If you've read this, let me know what you thought. If you know the Portia Nelson poem that I'm talking about, let me know what you thought of that, because it's amazing, I think. And let's talk in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I put out new videos every Monday. Thanks for talking books with me.